All right, we are back. Another episode of plotting on a rainy day here.
Mm-hmm.
We have this is the show. We're going to get into it. We're going to figure out. We're going to try and figure out what's going on with some sort of media property, movie, TV show, something like that, based purely on the title. Let's see how close I can get. Then we're going to dive into the real thing, see what's going on, discuss it a little bit, see what's happening there. So you got something good for us today. Again, I haven't seen this. I have no idea what's coming. I never know what's coming. You're picking good titles. You're picking good movies. You're picking good TV shows. You're just throwing them at me. So this is all off the cuff.
Yeah.
I have no idea. So we'll try and figure out what's going on here. All right. So let's start it off. Hit me with it. Let's get into it.
This is another one with a vague title. It is a Hulu movie, I believe, from this year. So it's 2020 Hulu movie. The title is Run.
Run.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. Run. Well, immediately I'm gonna think it's action, right? Like just off the bat, I'm thinking it's action. The only thing I can think is Run Lola Run, which is kind of like a sort of a famous sort of indie movie, whatever. I'm gonna guess it's not Run. I'm gonna guess it's not a Run Lola Run remake here, but I'm gonna say Run.
What is Run Lola Run about? So like fill people in.
I honestly have no idea. I've seen like snippets of it, but I actually don't know what the entire movie's about. But it literally involves a woman running, right? Like, I mean, she's a woman named Lola, and she's literally running at multiple times. But in like an action way, not like a hey, what's up? We're at a track meet. Like, let's get some 400s in here. You know what I mean? Like it's
like she's running away from someone.
Yeah, or running towards something. I was kind of unclear. I was really watching it for like the actual camera movements itself. So like I was kind of seeing how they were shooting it. Really have no idea what she was running to or away from. I'm not sure. But I'm gonna say Run is like this is gonna be more of like a Jason Statham type situation, where he's got to keep his heart rate up and all of that type of stuff. That's what I'm gonna say. It's gonna be one of those types of things.
What is that? So like what does that mean?
Well, you never seen those movies with Chev Chelios?
Nope.
Literally, the entire thing is based on. It's kind of like Speed, except like the movie Speed. It's kind of like that, except his own heart. Yeah,
okay.
Well, yeah. It's. I mean, I'm not talking about like methamphetamine. Like it's. I'm not saying like it's kind of like methamphetamine. Although honestly, it kind of is like methamphetamines. Like it like the entire movie literally is just methamphetamines. But it's like Speed in that if his heart rate drops below, and I forget what the beats per minute is, but if it drops below a certain beats per minute, then he dies. And so he's got to run around and do a bunch of things. Like he's constantly running, he's constantly doing all these things.
How does he sleep?
He doesn't. That's the point, right? So he's got to do all this in order to, and then he's got to go find the people so that they can give him basically the antidote or whatever to stop this, right? So like it's a work against the clock because he's exactly what you're saying, right? Like eventually he's going to be tired, and so he's got to do all this stuff.
He's going to die anyway.
Before he gets too tired or whatever. And then there's a second movie where they replace his heart, whatever, but it's the same thing. Like he's still got to do the same thing. And actually in that one,
they made two movies out of this.
Oh yeah, 100%. And they're actually fantastic. I mean, it literally is just like if you get hopped
Up. What's the name of the movie?
Methamphetamines. I'm blanking on the name. I'm terrible with that. Like thinking of those things in the like on the spot. It'll come to me like 3 hours from now, and there's people yelling at me right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, you can look it up. It's with Jason Statham.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
But he's in the second one, actually, at one point, he's on one of the ways he keeps his heart rate up is to have sex with his girlfriend who thought he was dead, but he takes her out of the strip club or whatever, and they go to this horse track, and he's like, oh man, I got to keep it up or whatever. So he literally starts having sex with his girlfriend on the horse track, like during a race of a horse, like a horse race. And so like you can see like his naked butt is out there, and he's just like going to Pound Town, like just crushing her, and everybody in the everybody in the stands is like cheering him on, and it goes on. It's like a 45-second scene. Like you just watch him basically hump this girl for like 45 seconds. Like it is way longer than you think it is, and it just keeps going, and it's awesome because like in the middle of this movie, like you're doing a bunch of stuff, and then all of a sudden it just stops, and he just has sex for like 45 seconds to a minute. And you're like, what is happening? Like, it's way longer than you think. It's fantastic.
Crank.
Crank, thank you. Yeah, Crank 2, Jeff Chelios. He's, I kept wanting to say Bolt, but I was like, that's not right. Yes, Crank, and then Crank 2. But Crank, it's one of those things, like he has to run in order to keep his heart rate up. I'm going to say run more in that vein, not in that they have to keep him alive, but that he's got to run. It's going to be a guy. He's going to be having to run for or from something. I'm going to say he's running from something, right? So that's the run.
Okay.
He's running from something. So
the main character's a guy.
Yeah, and he's running from the bad guys. And so he's running. He's stolen a secret of theirs of some sort. So he's got the secret. He's running away. They are they're chasing him. I'm going to say that they are kind of bad guys would they be? I'm going to say that they are maybe mobsters, maybe Russian, maybe Asian. I'm going to say Russian. I'm going to say they're Russian bad guys chasing him. He's got some sort of secret, and he's got to get it to some place. And so he's trying to deliver. He's trying to deliver something. That's his end goal. It's not just run to stay alive. Like he's got to run to actually deliver something. That's his goal. That's what I think this is.
Okay. Are you ready to hear how wrong you are?
Yes, I am. Is this not an action movie?
It's more of a thriller.
Okay. All right. I can see that. That makes sense.
The synopsis is Chloe, a teenager who is confined to a wheelchair, is homeschooled by her mother. However, her mother's strange behavior doesn't go unnoticed when Chloe pries into some private papers. She discovers a change of name certificate documenting her mother's name, Diane Sherman, on it. When Chloe Googles Diane Sherman, the internet suddenly disconnects. Chloe becomes suspicious of all that her mother does, suspecting her of something sinister. She decides to go on the run in her wheelchair in a desperate attempt to get away from her.
This is a fucking pun? The title is a fucking pun? Well, that sucks. That's not good. I don't like that at all. This should be Wheel. That's what this should be called. It's just fucking Wheel. Like this chick is just fucking going nuts, right? That's what this should be. All right, okay, so
it's kind of the in the previews, it kind of looks like the mom might have like Munchausen's, and she's like maybe even keeping her daughter sick.
So this is like The Room. I mean, this is like the movie The Room. I think that's what it was, where like the lady was being kept in the, like her and the kid were being kept in the room or whatever. Or no, it was called, maybe it's just called Room. The Room is a different one. That's a completely different movie. That was like really terrible. But there was one where like it was this lady and her kid that were being kept in this place. I think it was even based on a true story. Anyway,
yeah, it's called Room. I think I just found it with Brie Larson.
That's the one. That's the one.
Yeah, I've never seen that one.
That's, you know, whatever, they're in there and all that stuff. Okay, so that's kind of all right. And I'm sure people who have seen that movie, I've never seen it, but I'm sure people who have seen that movie are like, that's nothing like that, whatever. It's just in my head that's how the connection works. So
yeah.
All right. So what you're telling me is, all right. So I mean, like, all right. So let's think about this, right? Because this sounds a little like I'm actually not out on this movie. Like, this seems like one that I would be out on almost immediately, right? But I'm not actually out on this movie yet, but I need to think about a little bit more, like, what exactly is happening here, okay? So,
yeah.
So we're going to go in, like, a little bit of a different order here, but let's say, all right, so I'm watching something, right? I'm whatever. I'm on the internet, trying to get on the internet. It disconnects, okay? So the internet disconnects. Is my first thought, like, and I'm just talking to me. I'm not talking about this girl. I'm talking to me. Like, my first thought when the internet disconnects is, I fucking hate the internet. This router is a piece of shit, right? Like, that's my first thought. It's like, fuck this router. You know what I mean? This lady's first thought was, my mom is a fucking criminal, right?
Well, I think it's more finding all the papers. And
I understand. What I'm saying is, that's why we're going out of order. Like, you're trying to go back in order with me. I'm trying to figure this out. I'm trying to you got to work through my process. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying like
the process is weird, so it's difficult
I know
for me, but I'll give you a chance.
I know it is, but this is what I'm saying. Like, this is how the shit happens in my head, right? This is real time. I'm telling you, this is real. This is live television. You know, this is real time shit. I've never seen this. I've never heard of this. I don't know any of this shit. So I'm trying to figure out, do I like this movie? Do I not like this movie? Right? Do I think it's believable? You know, because I've had some other ones, like, immediately you say it, I'm like, fuck this. Like, this movie, I'm out. I hate this movie. This movie sucks, right? This one, I don't know. So, again, like, what's your first thought when it goes out? You're more like me, right? You're like, fuck this router. Like, this router is terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, right? I give it to you.
You're like, you know what? AT&T is a bunch of assholes, right? Like, you're just blaming the corporation immediately, right? Like, big internet, fuck them. This lady was like, my mom is a terrorist. Right? Like, that was the first thought. Like, the internet goes out. I mean, think about that. Like, I'm on there, and it's, like, not working or whatever, and I'm on the internet, right? And I, like, click in, and I'm like, enter. And then it takes a second, and I'm like, God damn it, these packets are not going fast enough, right? And then it hits that thing where it's like, internet can't load or whatever. It's like that little robot Tyrannosaurus Rex or whatever that shit is, right? And it's like, internet connection unstable or gone or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so my first thought, when that happens, is, I fucking hate Comcast, or I don't even know what internet I have, but whatever it is, I'm like, I fucking hate those people, right? So this lady gets that message, and immediately she's like, my mom is a fucking criminal mastermind. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like having that connection doesn't make any sense, right? So, all right, so pretend that we don't know the first part. Are you with me so far? Like, pretend that we don't know the first part. We don't know that she's found the papers. Are you with me? So you're like, this lady's crazy.
Sure.
Okay, now, let's put in the first part. Okay. Now she says, okay, I'm going to find these papers. So she finds the papers, and it's a name change. Okay. Now, this is saying that it's a name change for her mom. This is her mom changes the name. Her mom changed the name.
I think so. Yeah, that's what one of the.
Like, I'm sorry. I'm saying her mom changed her own name.
Yes.
Okay. So, if we think about that, like, in real life, I don't honestly know how I would react to that. Like, if I found something that said, like, my dad's name or my mom's name was not their real name, right? And I get it. She's like a single mom or whatever. So, like, you know, it's a little bit different. I got two parents or whatever. But I, you know, maybe it'd be even weirder if I had both my parents and saw change their name or something like that. But I see this piece of paper, and I'm like, well, my parents aren't who they say they are. I'd probably be a little suspicious. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I'd be like, well, this is fucking weird. I need some questions answered, right?
Yeah.
What's 100%. My first thought? My first thought is I'm probably going to ask my parents what's going on. Now, maybe I have a different relationship with my parents than this lady has with hers, but my first thought is, like, I would look at those papers and I'd be like, what is this, right? I don't know. Would you ask your parents, or would you, like, go on the internet and be like, let me look up this other name?
I don't know. I think it depends on the context. Like, if she's basically in the house the whole time and it's the two of them, and I've been given the illusion that my mom tells me everything and she didn't tell me this, and then I'm realizing, like, my mom controls everything, I might not, my mom is in control of my whole life. Is she going to be honest with me?
Okay. All right. So, all right. Okay. I'm with you. Okay.
You had exposure to the outside world. This is like some girl who's basically in her house 24/7 and has been for all.
She's just in a fucking wheelchair. What? They're just like, her mom's just like, we're not putting in a fucking ramp.
She doesn't go to school. She doesn't really leave. Like, she's 100% dependent on her mom. Like, that's part of the movie.
Okay. So, but she never goes outside? She got like agoraphobia or some shit?
No, she doesn't have agoraphobia. I don't know if she goes outside or not, but it is like.
You just say she's not part of society. She doesn't have friends. She doesn't have shit like that.
Yeah, because her mom keeps her in her house and keeps her dependent. Like, she doesn't encourage her to do her own things. And in the trailer, there's like some medication, and she peels back the label and sees that, like, it's for a different person and she's the one who's been taking it or something. I'm not 100% sure, but, like, that's the illusion, like, that someone has replaced.
The girl has to take it?
I think the girl the mom has one, and it's like, the name has been replaced, or someone's taking, like, some pills and the label's been put over. Like, it's either been they're saying they're taking, or the name is different. I don't remember because it was like a really quick scene. So it does seem as if like you seem to have like a healthy relationship with the outside world. So like that might.
So there's a couple. So she sees a couple of things. She sees a couple of things. She's like, my mom's not telling me the truth. Okay. Now let's add that in to our previous discussion about getting online. Okay. I think my mom's crazy, all this stuff, whatever. I see she's feeding me pills, or she's feeding herself pills, or whatever the fuck is happening there. She's got a different name, all these things. I go on the internet, I type some shit in, I see a little fucking robot Tyrannosaurus Rex. I still don't understand how my first thought is my mom is a fucking criminal mastermind that fucking understands the internet. Because this would not be the first time that shit would happen, right? She would have been on the internet. Like you said, she's at home all the time. She would have been on the internet before. She would have seen this message, and now all of a sudden she looks at that and she's like, well, fucking internet's messed up. Obviously my mom is the fucking Illuminati, right? Like, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. It makes no fucking sense whatsoever. You know, this girl's a fucking moron if that's what she thinks. Like, she's just an idiot if that's what she thinks. I'm not saying don't be scared of your mom. Like, yeah, your mom's lying to you. Obviously, like, you got to say some shit, and it sounds like you need to work on your arm strength or something. Get down a ramp. Get the hell away from her. You know what I mean? Like, let's get the hell out of the house. I'm with you on that. But I can't be looking at the internet and being like, oh, my internet went down. Obviously, my mom. That's just not how it works. Like, your mom is not a fucking tech genius. You know what I mean? Like, she's not over here like she's fucking Zuckerberg out there, and she's like, enter or escape or some shit, and she just fucking deletes the internet. Like, that's not how it works. You know what I mean? You got to be Bill Gates to do that shit. I don't understand. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. It's a real sticking point with me because, like, that was a real specific part of the synopsis. You know what I mean? Like, they were, like, very specific about that part in the synopsis, and they didn't really bring up the pills and that shit. They just said, like, her mom changed her name.
So the synopsis was, like, one off IMDb. So, like, I don't know if the person who wrote the synopsis was, like, focusing more on that. But that, it doesn't matter.
But obviously, somehow, what I'm saying is, obviously, that's a big part of the movie.
Somehow that was made a prominent part of, if someone's in the synopsis that triggered the tipping point for her, it had to have been memorable. So...
Right, that's what I'm saying. So I'm against it on that part. I'm less skeptical
than you, but you did bring up a good point that I would have glazed over.
You're telling me that you're not skeptical at all that this lady who's been confined to home and has access to the internet. This literally can't be the first time that she's been on the internet. Otherwise, she wouldn't know what was happening. So she has to have at least been on the internet one other time.
But, like, what if her internet was like the best internet ever, and this is the only time
that never happens? That literally never happens. There's not a single person who's like, hey, by the way, my internet is fucking fantastic. You know what I mean?
Extremely
that
stable.
Has never happened, ever in the history of time. So you tell me that a girl in a wheelchair who has been stuck in a wheelchair her entire life, can't go outside, doesn't really have friends, presumably the only thing she can do is get online and talk to other human beings online. And you're saying that it's believable, or it's not even a little weird, that she would see the internet go down and immediately be like, my mom is a fucking wizard. That is shocking to me. And if this person put this in the synopsis, like you said, it has to be a bigger part. That's why I'm concerned about this movie, right? I think for me, I'm gonna be like I guess I'm going to be neutral on this movie. I think I'm going to be neutral. I can't give it a thumbs up. I was leaning thumbs up, honestly, like at the beginning. Like, if you would have convinced me that, like, I was talking something wrong here, I probably would have gone 1 thumbs up, not a 2. This is not a 2 thumbs up. I'm not really, like, this isn't my genre, right? Like, I'm not the audience for this.
Yeah.
But I probably would have been like 1 thumbs up. Like, this seems kind of interesting. Like, that's sort of interesting. It's kind of a take on some other stuff, but whatever. Like, that's fine. Like, you could redo stuff and, like, stuff gets good. You know, I mean, I love all the action movies,
I think
whatever, so that's fine.
More stuff is just a take on.
Well, yeah, I mean, it has to be, right? But I think I'm neutral on this because that seems like a real big problem for me. Like, that's a big, of all the other stuff, right? Like, it's kind of interesting. She changes her name. She does all these things. And then the internet thing, like, gets her. I can't get behind the internet being the thing that makes her think that her mom is doing something, like, right? Like, that's a point where she's like, oh shit, like, something's happening. You know, to change the name and the label thing, that's enough. That's enough where it's like, I don't know what's happening here, but I need to get out. That's plenty of reason to get out. I just can't get behind. I don't know. I'm a neutral on this. I'm not a thumbs down. It seems kind of interesting, but I'm not a thumbs up because that's a big sticking point for me. I don't know. What do you think? Where are you at on this one?
I'm probably a thumbs up. One thumbs up.
Okay.
This looks like my pace of a thriller. I'm not really into horror movies. I'm not.
It's a psychological thriller, right? I mean, it's
psychological thriller. But I mean, even I'm just not into being like really scared. And some psychological thrillers seem a little bit more scary than this one. This one seems
this is like Gone Girl,
it's not
right?
really
more of a Gone Girl type situation.
Yeah. So I haven't seen Gone Girl because that honestly looks like.
You never seen Gone Girl? It's a great movie.
No,
you love it.
Actually,
you love it.
I haven't read the books yet, which is why I haven't seen the movie because I have the books.
Actually, if I understand it correctly, on that one, even though Gone Girl is really good, like it's the movie is very, very well done. I think from my understanding, the twist in the book, I've never read the book, but my understanding is the twist in the book is even better. I mean, it's the same twist, but like it's done even better.
Yeah,
so I would say,
that's why I am a big reader, and so that's one of my sticking points. I haven't done it yet. Like if I see the movie when it first comes out, sometimes I don't care, but then if I've like waited 6 months, I'm like, oh, I might as well make the time to read the book first, because I think books are better than movies most of the time, but that's not always true. I think
that's an insane thing to say, but go ahead. Continue.
I think that a lot of people feel that exact way. The big one that my exception is The Notebook.
I think
the
all
movie
those people
is 10 times better than the book, and the book the endings are different, and I wish I'd never read The Notebook.
I genuinely think all those people are big fucking nerds. That's what I think.
I don't know if I can like argue with that point.
No, you're just a bunch of fucking nerd alert city over here. Get out of my face with that. This is the 21st century. We have moving pictures. Let's get on board with watching these movies. All right, so you're a thumbs up on this one. You like it. Seems interesting. Good thriller. Good psychological thriller. Kind of like, let's get into this kind of interesting. A girl in a wheelchair. That's kind of an interesting twist maybe. There might be something with that. I hope they do that well. That can also just be kind of a crutch, that you have there, where it's like, we're kind of saying it, but it's not really playing a part. So hopefully that actually plays like a real part. Like literally her mom goes out and like fucking picks up the fucking ramp or something like that. She's like, I can't leave, or you know what I mean? I mean, something.
Yeah,
like
no, I mean, it
happening,
seems like it is playing a part. Like to get up and down the stairs, her mom is the one that control. Like it looks like her mom is the one who can control whether she comes up or down. She's the one who does the control. Like it seems like they are playing into that, where her mom also like she could have learned more independent things, and her mom discourages that. That seems like that might come into play, and that's part of her realization is like, I could do those things, but my mom doesn't want me to.
Dumb. Maybe she's just dumb. I mean, like, let's think about it that way, right? So she didn't learn some of this stuff, but she also thinks that her mom controls the internet, right? So maybe she's just dumb, Unless what they're saying is like she gets on the internet and then she types in the thing and then the screen goes black, like the fucking computer turns off, which is not the same thing as the internet stops working.
Yeah, that's not the same thing as the internet, but that's what I visualized in my head, which is, and then I was like,
but that would have been like a very specific, like I think you would have had to say like, then the computer shut off. Like that's a different thing. Like the screens go black is different than seeing that little fucking robot. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, I get like, oh, people are like, well, it's suspicious timing or whatever. And I'm like, yes, but that's not the first fucking reaction for anybody who's ever been on the fucking internet. You never have something and you like, look at this and you're like, oh, that's suspicious timing. You're like, fuck AT&T, fuck Comcast. These people suck. Like that's your first thought, right? Like your thought is never, your thought is never like, oh, this is suspicious timing. It's like, no, these assholes are screwing me for exactly what I needed. Like that's your first thought. You immediately go to the corporation. You immediately go to your ISP. You absolutely do not think that whoever it is that's in your household is a fucking wizard that all of a sudden controls the goddamn global internet. That is not how that works. This isn't fucking China. You know what I mean? Like nobody's flipping a switch. Like that's not how this works.
Well, it seems like this little girl's living in China a little bit.
Well, she seems like a real idiot to me, but I'm still giving it a neutral. I think people should watch it. I think it could be kind of interesting as long as you can get past the fact that there's a real big issue potentially with the internet thing. That's a real sticking point. Not a fan of that. You're giving it a thumbs up, so I think we're actually sort of thinking this movie is okay.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the highest rated movie. I can't remember which one it was, but at some point we gave one a thumbs up. We both gave it a thumbs up. So this is definitely not our highest rated movie, but it's not our lowest rated movie.
Yeah,
either.
I don't know what movie that was.
I have no idea. I can't even remember what I did yesterday, so I have no idea. But I know that this is not our lowest rated movie. So, you know, take that for what you will. So people see this. We've done it. We did it. We looked at it. What's this one called?
Sure did.
Run. It's called Run. Does it have an exclamation point on it?
No, just Run.
I just in my head I was envisioning Run with an exclamation point. Honestly, like that's how just in my head I was like, oh yeah, of course it's gonna be Run with an exclamation point. So that was wrong. That was incorrect.
Yeah, that was wrong. You did not do.
I was not close. I was not close on this one. Had no idea what was happening. So all right, so we did it. People, you know, if you have comments on this one or whatever, honestly, if you disagree with me about the internet thing, I don't want to fucking hear it because that's a bad take by you. Real bad take. Like, don't email me about fucking why the internet thing makes sense because it doesn't make any sense at all. I'm 100% right about that. Anything else you want to talk about? Like, that's fine.
The internet or the screen going blank. Like, that's like literally that is the main.
That actually is true
for me to watch it. Honestly, I want to know if that's just a communication problem.
That part actually is true.
Whoever wrote the review that I read, like that may have seemed like the way to say it, and that's not the way to say it.
No, honestly, I will respond to those people if that's the case. I will respond to that person very specifically and start yelling at. I will berate them about their lack of ability.
I have no doubt you will do that.
You know, just their shitty ability to convey the plot of a movie in any sort of logical fashion. I would not be happy about that. But if you have other questions or other movies you want us to review or you think we should review, you think we might like, you can email. What's the email? You can email us at...
Email is info.plotting@gmail.com.
gmail.com. You can comment on the video, whatever. We got a podcast, the Plotting Podcast. You can listen to this. You listen to other episodes, all those things. You know, we appreciate anybody who's watching or subscribing or whatever. Listening, all those things. We appreciate it. Please keep doing it. We like doing this. We want to keep doing this. Yeah, I think that's it. I think we'll see everybody next time.